Happy New Year to everyone. Hi, I'm Dr. Asha. Thank you so much for joining me today. It is 2026. I can't believe it. It's here, a new year, new start, new beginning. It's funny. I've always seen New Year's as a time of renewal, a new energy, new motivation, new inspiration. But one of the things that we always talk about these new beginnings, and we always strive to start anew. But the fact of the matter is that we don't need January 1st. We don't need a calendar to help us get started again. We can do that any day. But here we are at the beginning of a new year, and I hope that you have had the opportunity to reflect upon 2025. I know for a lot of people, not only globally, but personally too, myself included, 2025 was a very heavy year. There was a lot of things that happened, a lot of things that were going on, a lot of lessons to be learned. And one of the things that I did at the end of 2025 is I took some time to write down and to journal about things that I was grateful for learning, lessons that had been learned that needed to be learned. Even though I was resistant on some of them, I think that we all are, that's human nature. But also I was making a list of things that I wanted to leave behind. It's kind of like this quote that I read not too long ago, and I really love this quote. It's something to, I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, but it's like, imagine reading a book knowing that you cannot turn the page backwards. So you cannot reread a chapter, you cannot reread a passage. How would you read that book differently? And the way I look at that is that that's very much how we can, if we choose to, relate to life. Life is that way. If we're not careful, we will miss the moments. We will miss the relationships, the connection, the moments in our life if we're not being present. Being present is one of the greatest gifts that we can do for ourselves, but also for those around us, those that we are in relationship with, whether that is it with our coworkers, our patients, our clients, our customers, our family, our friends, our dear loved ones, and even with ourselves, being present with ourselves, not letting ourselves get caught up with the stress and the hecticness and the busyness. And I know that we are living in a society that is very much in a hurry. We're in a hurry with a lot of things. I mean, we're speeding up exponentially, and especially with all the technological advancements, it's really speeding up in a certain way. And if we're not careful, we're going to miss out a lot on our life by not being present. So one of the things that I did at the end of the year is I started journaling probably at the beginning of December about all the things that I wanted to leave behind, because I didn't want to carry things over into this new year. Just like not being able to go back and reread that chapter, I wanted to start a new chapter. And I'm so glad that you're joining me here in this new year. I would like to know from you, what new chapter are you wanting to start? You don't have to have it all figured out. It is the beginning of January. I always see the beginning of January, February is usually a time that you still can, recreate your master plan of what you want to do and what you want to work on. It doesn't have to be set in stone. And that's the beauty about it. When we are more present in our life, we tend to be more flexible, more adaptable. And that, I think, is really important to build our resilience in our life. Being resilient is about your flexibility, your adaptability, and figuring out what matters most. I think one of the most important things is figuring out exactly what your why is and what matters most to you. Is it spending time with your family and friends? Is it focusing on your health? Is it maybe working, developing new skills for your work? What is it that matters most to you? And then you want to just kind of break it down and figure out, okay, what is one thing that I can start doing today in order to shift that for myself? And it could be a mindset shift. It could be a health habit. It could be something very small. For example, I had a friend of mine that really wanted to work on managing his blood sugar. Okay. He didn't want to get on any medication. It wasn't drastically high, but he started noticing that he was feeling a lot different. So what he made a commitment to himself early in the fall last year to start walking every single day for 10 minutes after his evening meal. And what ended up happening, because he was monitoring his blood sugar on his own at home, what he figured out was that just with that commitment of the small change of 10 minutes a day, of walking after his meal, he was really able to make a big difference. And now he's feeling much better. He's created a healthy habit. It only takes a small action, a small mindset shift just a small, tiny, we don't have to start with the big stuff. Most of the time, whenever we come around with January 1st, we've got all these grand resolutions, New Year's resolutions, and we get so overwhelmed, we get so frustrated that nothing comes out of them. Let's not do that this year. I want you to reflect upon and think about what is one thing that you would like to work on, whether it is mindset related, whether it is a daily habit in order to improve your health on whatever level, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, whatever it is. And let's talk about incorporating that and start rewiring your brain and your mindset to accept the fact that once you start small, you're just going to be building bigger and bigger. You will see if you start a new habit right now today, a small habit, by the time the end of the year, your entire life will be transformed. Even, for example, with this friend of mine that I was telling you about who started walking. I mean, he lost weight, he had more energy, his blood pressure went down, his blood sugar, all his lab values were much better, and he felt better. He was able to be more active and more present with his family, better, productivity at work. There were lots of different changes, and his mood got better. So it only takes one small thing. What's it going to be for you this year, 2026? What do you want to let go of? What do you want to leave behind? And what are you wanting to embark upon? I would love to hear from you. Be sure to drop a comment. Let us know how you're doing. Subscribe to this channel and join me this year as we go through on a journey of creating new habits and working on our mindset together. Thank you so much. Until next time.